Hi, welcome to She Wealth. A series on She Talks is where we have women who speak to us, who talk to us and share their stories. Women who are driven by purpose, women who are independent, strong, maybe fearful, vulnerable, women who've enjoyed success, but maybe also seen failure. But what's common between all of them is that they all have a story. And that is what I'm interested in. I'm interested in the learnings and the story, the journey that took them to their on their paths and what brought them here. I am Richa and I run a venture called She Wealth, which is a financial education platform for women. And through money courses, we simplify the concept of investing and financial independence. I have a very special guest with me today, somebody I've known for a few months, but I would like to take this opportunity to probably deep dive into her life and journey and see how she got to this point where at such a young age she's running a business. And let me get her on screen first. That's Nikita Goel.
Hi.
Nikita is a fashion graduate from NIFT Mumbai. She's an entrepreneur, uh, just out of college a few years back. She runs this with her mom. A very brave decision very early in life to get into entrepreneurship, and we cannot wait to talk to her and see what she's done in her life so far to get her to this point. So, Nikita, thank you so much for being here. And it's just so lovely to connect with you once again and just chat up with you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me and such a cute introduction. Yeah, it was quite a brave decision.
So, Nikita, whereas we're all interested about, all the interesting work that you're doing, and of course, we'd like to know more about your startup called the Indian Rose. But take us, let's rewind a little. I'd like to know how you were as a child, where you were growing up, because more than just the story per se, I think it's the learnings that we can keep deriving from people's journeys, because every person has a different journey and a different perspective on things. But there are certain lessons which are very universal, and that probably is what inspires people. Your journey would be very different from mine or anybody else who's watching this, but there could be certain lessons which would apply in any scenario. So take us back to the time you were born. What city were you born in? What were you as a child?
So, I was born in Delhi, born and brought up in Delhi. So, I come from a family of mixed cultures and mixed religions. So, like, my mom is from Punjab and my dad is from UP. And my mom is a Hindu and my dad is a Jain. So, I've grown to love and respect all cultures, all religions equally. That's something that's been embedded in me as a child. And I grew up in a very middle class family. My dad works at a PSU still. Like the most consistent person I know and the most hardworking as well. He works at a PSU. He used to work then as well in the same company. My mom was a working mom who left her job somewhere like when I was around third standard and did not like that work from home situation, like work stay at home situation at all. So at that time only she started like a work from home thing when it was not even like a trend, and she found some jobs and like articleship, anything that she could find her hands on, and eventually started her own e-com business, where she became like an e-com exporter and a seller on Amazon, and one of the really good ones too.
And what
uh,
was she selling? What would she be selling?
She was a licensed reseller for many of the companies of India, like Khadi and Wadi, and she used to do those exports. Plus, general reselling from India to outside, not branding or anything, just like, taking something and selling it. And eventually she got into like manufacturing and all too of jewelry. But that sort of came to
And
us,
what year was this?
what year? I think she started her export journey. No, sorry, Amazon journey. I think I was in like seventh or eighth standard. And
Around the time all of this was just starting out, perhaps then. you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. She was just starting out, so she also like started out then.
Mm.
So presently, like she has an experience of like 10 to like 12, 13 years into this. And I was also brought up in a joint family with my grandparents. So I've been very grateful to have both sets of grandparents with me as growing up. My maternal grandparents also live in Delhi, and paternal grandparents live with me. So I've had abundance of love from both my grandparents set. And I'm a single child, so it was quite in abundance when I was growing. So yeah.
And what kind of a student were you? Were you good at studying?
Oh,
Were you that bright kid, active in
yeah.
everything?
So, growing up, it's as a child, as a student, also, I think I've had quite a learning growth, I would say. So, this is one thing that always abide by, and it's a quote that I run through all the people that I love and know that your vibe is your tribe, and your tribe is your vibe, right? The people you chill with is how you are, and how you are is who you attract.
Yeah.
So, growing up, like till I was, I think, in eighth standard, I was a bright kid. I've always been a very creative kid, a very, very obedient, and a very, very sharp kid, academically also. And but like due till my eighth standard, like my friends were like, I don't know how to put it, like I was bullied in school a bit by my
Mm.
friends only, and it was quite hard. And I, at that time, you really don't know what is happening. And when thankfully my sections changed when I came to ninth, and I had a different set of friends and everything, and I became a totally different person. I became this social butterfly. I was academically always on the top, not just like in the about to be in the top one, but I became absolutely on the top. And yeah, so like um
So when
I
you
realized,
look back at to that phase, what do you think? In retrospect, our struggles and our problems look trivial. So and
yeah,
we perhaps have a better view on them as as an outsider.
yeah.
How did that shape you as a person? Getting bullied, were you the kind to succumb to it? Were you the kind to stand up and try and maybe as a kid,
Oh.
what can you do? Perhaps you can go to your teacher or your principal or your parents.
Oh, no, no, not at all. So it was quite strange for me. I thought like, these are my friends and this is maybe how it's supposed to be. And I was like, oh no, but and I was like, I am like, if my friends, I love my friends. Like this is something that have been there, and I'm very loyal to my people. So I'm like, yeah, they're my friends, and like, I don't know why they're doing this. And for the longest time, I did not even realize like how emotionally scarring whatever they were doing was. I thought this
So
was just
where
how
where
friends
did you how
did.
did you seek help? Because again, bullying in school is a very common thing. We understand ragging in colleges is
Yeah, yeah,
problematic, but bullying in
for sure.
school is something that goes unaddressed for the longest part.
Yes,
Uh,
yes, for sure.
so
So
how did you seek help, if at all?
I'll tell you what. So my mom actually saw that these set of friends are really not the best. She understood like the first side when they met her, when they all met her. And she kept telling me, you need to find new friends, you need to find new friends. And at that point, that stage, like my parents don't know anything. These are my friends. I have to be with them. And I was all that stupid. I like kept being with them, and after a point, and that's why I say, like, I think I was too naive to really understand, that it was really emotionally scarring to what they were doing. And thankfully, my sections changed. Otherwise, I would have never realized what was happening. Because
Yeah.
as soon as that change happened, and I was in a new environment with new set of people, I realized, oh, what? That your friends are not
So,
supposed to be like that.
yeah, so you know what that also, I mean, the point that this whole incident drives to is that you will find toxic people and toxic relationships at
Yeah.
different places, and it's important to identify them. Sometimes you're able to do that yourself, but maybe at times you need people around you to be able to help you
Yes.
understand there's something wrong, and then
Yeah, for
let
sure.
go of anything that's not helping you grow or making you feel good.
Yes, of course. I mean, now if I look back to all the social circle that I have cut off from anybody who did not serve me, who did not help me in my work, in my personal growth. And I've simply just cut off. Like I only keep
And I
eyes
think it should not be
and
considered selfish to do that,
yes,
where
for
you're thinking
sure.
of yourself, because that's important at all
Yeah,
points in life. So
for sure, for sure.
all right, so definitely towards the end of your school life, you did transform for the better.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah. Oh my
what
God.
were you
Agree.
what were your plans? What were you dreaming as a
Oh,
child to
oh,
grow up
this
to
is
become?
gonna be really fun. So, I come from a family where education is very important. Like every education is above everything. Like, you should be well read. You should have a good college degree. And basically, education is topmost. We prioritize education above everything and anything here. So while I was growing, like by eight, like I think in eighth standard, I told my family that, oh, because I was a very creative child and everything, I was like, I think I want to be a designer. And my nanny's house was right next to NIFT. So I used to see NIFT every day, and I said, maybe I want to go to NIFT and all. And my family was, and I was a very very bright kid, right? Like academically, I was doing really well. So my parents were like, being a designer is not easy. Getting into NIFT is not easy. Surviving as a designer is not easy. I think you are so good at biology, you're so good at science. Why don't you look somewhere there? And I used to love biology as well. So I thought, oh, okay, then I'll become a doctor. If my parents are saying this, I'll become a doctor. I started taking coaching from from 10th standard, 10th, 11th, 12th. And in coaching also, I was one of the very good students. Like all my teachers there had these high hopes on me. Oh, this girl will go. This girl will become a doctor. I'm so sure. Like they used to be like raving about me and everything.
Okay, so let me interrupt you there and just ask you something. So
Yeah, yeah,
you were a bright kid, which was great. Your parents had certain expectations because you were bright. Your teachers,
yeah,
your coaching professors had
yeah.
certain
Everybody.
expectations.
Yeah.
Did that ever bog you down, or was that inspiring, motivating? Let's say.
So, honestly, um, I'm very, very hard on myself. No matter what everybody's telling me, oh, you're bright, oh, you're doing this, oh, you're that, it's good, whatever. I've always been very hard on myself. Like, I'm my biggest critic. So my parents always never have ever said, ki, oh, you need to do better because they already know I am so hard on myself that if they
Mm,
tell me anything, I will crush. Like, you can't do more than what I'm doing at a point.
okay.
So I think I have had imposters since a child. Like I still go through imposter syndrome. So like even if I'm achieving whatever, I should be like, yeah, okay, fine, I've done this, but I need to do better. So that thing of always doing better and all, this was in my head. So no matter what people around me were saying, that didn't bother me at all. It was just me and myself who was on my head. Ki, no, no, you have to do better. You have to do this. You have to complete this, that, everything. So yeah,
So
but
what
yes,
was that turning point? What was that turning point where you said, I will not do medicine and I will become a fashion designer? Because till
then
12th you're still coaching to
I
take your
uh,
PMPs,
I
your pre-medical tests.
I'll tell you there was no turning point. It was just serendipity. That's all. I'll tell you what happened. So now what happened was in 12th, because I was under so much pressure and I told you, right, I put so much pressure on myself. I had gone into depression by my 12th standard. And at that time, mental health awareness was so low and so
Mm.
bleak that nobody knew what was happening to me. My parents were like, why is she like this? Why? What happened to her? And they got really bothered. How will you get into any college? Study little and everything. And I was like, I want to study, but I'm not. It was a whole mess. And later I came to know that I was in depression and everything. So during my 12th, like I used to attend all my classes and everything. And but my studies had become a bit slow and low, right? And by the time entrance form filling happened, and because I had PCMB in my 11th 12th, so I could fill like a lot of forms. So my parents were like, you know what, let's not bank on just medical, let's fill as many forms as we can, we'll see where it goes from here. So we filled architecture, we filled NIFT, we filled medical. I got through architecture, I got through NIFT, and I got through one or two medical colleges. I did not get into many, but I got through two, three colleges as well. And now, when my NIFT entrance was happening, I was studying chemistry. Okay, my chemistry board was there, and my mom was like, "Listen, I filled NIFT because you said once that you want to become a designer. Let's see how it goes." And NIFT first level is of around 6.5 hours. And during those 6.5 hours, I was so happy. I was enjoying the entrance so much. And I
Wow.
came out and I was literally happy. I was like, this maybe I want to do all my life. What am I doing? And my parents were like, no, please do not bank on this. Please focus on your studies. You can't get into this like that. And blah, blah, blah. Whole situation happened. And then my second level came. I gave the second level and all also. And when finally I got through NIFT, everybody in my family was like, listen, you do this only now. You do this, okay? Let's forget medical, because then a lot of my medical counseling also had opened up. Like 2, 3 colleges called me, and my parents like, let's just chuck it. You go here, you enjoy life. You do this now. It's your journey now. I was like, great. Let
Awesome.
me just
Awesome. It's strange how sometimes, life somehow just brings you to that point
yeah,
which is the best for
exactly.
you. Yeah.
Yes,
So,
yes,
there are times when we keep fighting it because of whatever. Maybe there are some preconceived notions. Maybe there are
yes,
different
yes,
visions we have. Maybe we're influenced by
yes.
strong figures in our life. But
Yeah.
yeah, serendipity, I think that is how
And
things really,
yeah.
you can leave it at that. Great. So, Nikita, tell me, it's been what? How many years that you've been an entrepreneur now? 3 years?
I started in 2021.
Yeah,
So
so not
almost like, yeah,
2 years.
yeah.
Okay. And how
COVID was,
how has that been?
so it has been I think the most steep learning curve that I would say. Because when I had started my when I decided, okay, listen, I think I want to start something of my own. This moment I remember was Jan 2021.
Mm,
And I sat and I was still figuring out what I really want to do. And I then went like on a small trip, and I cleared my head a bit, and I figured I want to do something in crafts. Um, and then I came and like I was simmering through it and everything. And since I had my background in fashion, I thought I'll start something in garments. And I did all my designing, everything, sampling, everything was done. And we were going to enter right into production. And second wave hit.
yeah,
And second wave was a disaster. Like I
it's
would
very bad. Yes.
my parents also had gotten COVID. Like it was such a big mess. Like
Mm,
because I live in society, I live on a second floor. Like there were like deaths literally all around me. Like
mm,
some like it was just so disastrous, and we didn't know what was happening, and we decided like take a break, understand, because it was
yeah.
getting mentally and emotionally exhausting for everyone in the house, for me. And as like we took a break, and then in I think August, me and my mom sat and we realized that with garments, what happens is there are a lot of external logistics. You'd have to get a model, photographer, studio, and we did not know how COVID is going to pan out again, right?
Mm,
Whether it's going to come again, not. So we decided to do something which is not very human intensive, like where we do not have to depend on humans that much.
mm.
And since I could do photography and everything because of my college, I had done there. So we decided to get into home decor. So
So
from
now,
scratch,
now tell us about the Indian rose. Um,
yeah.
what
So
exactly? Also tell me what problem are you trying to solve?
so
Because I would assume that if a person is running a business, probably you want to do something. You're either trying to
for
make
sure.
something simpler, easier, cheaper, something for
Yeah,
a
yeah, for
certain
sure.
segment of customers. What is it that you are trying to do? And
So
why was this important for you? Why could you not wait? Till COVID settled and then probably get into a job, because that's what most college students would do. They finish a degree with the expectation that at some point you pick up a job and then you start earning. Why was it
yeah.
important for you in the middle of the pandemic to turn an entrepreneur without having given too much of your time to a corporate job, which kind of becomes a logical next step after college?
Yeah.
And
So
okay, so you might want to take it up slightly, differently. So my point is not to ask you why you did not pick up a job, because there could
Yeah,
be
yeah, yeah.
reasons, but why was it important for you to become an entrepreneur, and
Definitely,
why this
definitely.
segment?
Yeah.
What
So,
are you trying to
um,
give to people?
yeah, so I think we'll rewind a little for this. So after college, I got into a corporate job. Like you said, after college, we all think, okay, let's just get into a job. And like I had mentioned earlier, like I come from a middle class family. Like my grandfather has been into service, my dad has been into service. My mom at one point was in service. And because my dad was in service, like my mom could take the risk of getting into entrepreneurship. And that support was there. My Nana ji is also is into service. So I've grown in a family of service and a middle class, service background. So after college, I knew that I had to get a job and get my journey started from there. I did that. I got into one of the most sought after companies. I got a PPO in fact there. I worked there for a year and then COVID had come in, so I had to come back home. And because seeing the COVID situation, again, we did not know what was happening around us. Like, again, we all at home, we're trying to make sense of it. And suddenly I just want to take a break because I wanted to be with my family at that point. I wanted to understand. And, at that point, honestly, this is a true situation. So I was a graphic designer also there. So I was making these t-shirt graphics, okay? Positive vibes and Malibu life and all of that typical graphics. And then there was a pandemic happening. I was like, what am I doing with my life? Like, what purpose am I serving? Who am I helping? Like, what my this Malibu t-shirt is helping who? Is helping how? Like, what difference is my work making in the world? And I realized nothing. My work was making no difference. I make no difference at the point. And that was the turning point in my life where I said, no, I need to do something which creates an impact into the ecosystem. I need to do something meaningful. Even if it helps one person on this earth, I will do that. So at that point onwards, I decided I want to do something impactful. That was my thing. I told my parents and my family that I want to leave the job and I want to figure out what I want to do, which was not a very easy conversation because, as I told you, like my grandparents and parents are like, so how will you earn? I was like, okay, I'll figure it out. Like, let me just, take a break. So I left it and then I did some freelancing, branding, and brand identity designing for companies and, like contract jobs basically. Like I took up like a logo designing and all like small things that do not take up my entire time also and gives me some time to think. And plus there's some income coming in as well.
Yeah.
So I did that and then I went to Jaipur in fact. I spent time there and I realized I want to do crafts. This is my thing. I want to work with crafts. Plus, in NIFT, we've always been very exposed to crafts. We live in craft clusters for like weeks and weeks in our semesters and work with artisans and develop there. So everything just, came back to me when I was in Jaipur. I was like, I think I want to do in crafts, even though people were getting into crafts and all then. But I was like, so what? I want to get into it. I want to make a difference here.
Right. So the problem that you think that you're solving through your startup is that you're probably providing a platform to these artisans to. So how I'm curious now. Are you a platform that gets artisans directly to consumers, or are you a designer who's trying to uh, create a team of artisans and then give to customers what they want? Where are you
Yeah.
operating?
Okay, so like how I said, right, that I realized I want to do something impactful. Then I realized I want to do something with craft. But then COVID hit, so I couldn't do my garment one. Then I got into home decor. So now I had to research home decor from scratch because I have never done it. I have never been on the other end of it, right? I've only purchased it at this point. So I started doing my primary research. I went to Delhi Heart, I went to Dastkar, all these, craft hubs.
Yeah.
And I started looking
Just
at
for people who are outside of Delhi Heart is
yeah,
is a place where you get art, and you get craft
yeah, craft,
material.
all
You
Indian
get
crafts.
in the Indian craft from different states. So there are stalls of different states. You get from food to craft to handloom, all kinds of handicraft, everything. And similarly with Dastkar.
So in Daskar, it's mainly like some independent labels also come in who are working with craft or who are doing something handmade or doing themselves. But Delhi Heart is majorly for artisans and genuine crafts from the street who come in to show their craft. So after I went to Delhi Heart once or twice, at least minimum twice I went, yeah, sorry. And I realized that certain crafts were not, their product development and the designs were not up to the market standards. They were still doing their thing, which has been going on for years and years. They're not really grown. Because as a child, me and my mom used to love visiting Delhi Heart. That was like our thing. We used to go no matter what. And again, now this time we were going for research purposes. So we realized, this is something that we've been seeing for years to come. Like, this is not changed. Like, this product has not changed. So we decided that then there were like certain pain points that we noticed were coming. One was that certain crafts were dying. Certain crafts product development was not happening. And even in all of this, because of so many middlemen involved, artisans are not getting their fair price. So we decided to tackle all these three. And we went to a craft cluster. So craft cluster is basically a place where all the artisans of that particular craft reside. Like, it's the concentration of that particular craft, its origin, its story, and where the craft is basically made. So like for chicken curry, it's Lucknow. For wood carving that I'm into right now is from Saharanpur. Ceramics is from Khurja and Jaipur both. So
So
blue
now,
pottery.
you know about the space in depth. Is that because of your education in fashion design, or this is something you've picked up along the way?
So as I told you, like NIFT exposes you to craft a lot during our
Mm.
curriculum. That is something embedded. So I was very well aware about crafts and clusters and working with artisans through that.
Okay.
So I had a well deep knowledge about this before getting into it. But now what I had to do is choose the craft that I want to work with, my home decor craft. That's something I've never done. And now when I was working with the artisans, I was working at a very commercial aspect. So in college, we used to work at a more educational,
Mm.
collaborative both. There's just marks there, right? Like we used to get
Yeah.
mark on our. Now there was money involved, there was production involved, getting inventory, all of that came now. So I chose craft clusters around me that were easy to travel for me at the moment because I was just
Mm.
starting out. So I knew that there's going to be a lot of to and fro. So we chose craft clusters that were near to us and we could easily go by car and come back by car.
Mm.
So we
So,
chose Saranpur.
I'd like to just interject because I'm also trying to keep looking for lessons that I can take away and maybe generically just apply. So here I see a young girl who knows certain things because of her education and is trying to apply that in an area that she's never ventured into, but probably she peripherally knows that segment.
Yeah.
You're also conscious of the fact that you're conscious of your external environment, which was pandemic at that point. Also the fact that you were just starting out, so you neither had the knowledge nor perhaps the money to be very extravagant with your experiments.
Definitely.
So you were looking at areas which are closer, which are easier. So you're looking at low hanging fruits, which I
Yes.
think is a very good way to start, because you start doing things which are easier, which you
Hmm.
understand better, and then look for those initial signs of success, because once that comes, probably your confidence builds up, and then
Definitely.
more success, more confidence, more confidence, more success, and then
Yeah.
scientifically that keeps growing and keeps
I,
pushing forward.
yeah, I think Richa, you have like picked up very, very sharply this point. So because I have never done this home decor and this, this sort of craft, but I had knowledge about, how crafts are and everything. But now the thing comes like when you're in college and you're going to a cluster, college has contacts with the artisans where you want to be, where whom you're going to contact, where you have to be basically. The groundwork is done for you. But now when I was traveling to Saharanpur, we knew nothing. We just did a secondary research online, okay, where we can find artisans.
Mm.
That's all we knew. I did not know anybody any artisan there, any family member. Through God's grace, we somehow found my dad's childhood friend while we were roaming in the market, and he helped us get a good hotel there, because at that time finding a good hotel was also a very big task there, because we had absolutely zero clue. um and now me and my mom in
So what
December
what place, what cities or towns were you exploring?
so Saranpur in itself, it's a very small city.
Acha.
So
So
in that
Saharanpur is
only,
in Haryana.
it's in UP.
Acha, it's in UP. Okay.
Yes, yes. So now in December time, in extreme cold, me and my mom are roaming streets of Saranpur, and the the secondary research. Secondary research is basically what you do online. Like the places that we have found from there. Okay, these are the places you can find artisans. We start going there one by one. We start talking to shopkeepers and artisans there, and they're like, we don't do this, we don't do this. And because now we're at a big furniture shops, right? Because in
Mm-hmm.
Saranpur you get big wooden furnitures, also you get small wooden furnitures, also wooden decor items. So from there we found a link to where you get small wooden furnitures made. From there we end up going into small gullies and all, where artisans live, and we're knocking on doors like, will you make products for us? Because since we're
Wow.
starting out, low MOQ, we had less number of products, because
Mm.
we were not getting into like high production, right? Because we were just starting out, like as you said, less risk basically. So we are knocking on doors and like, okay, will you make this? Will you make this? And finally someone agreed to make. Our artisan finally agreed to make. And our journey started from there. Like we gave,
So would
and
you give them, what was your plan to identify artisans and look for the craft that they're already doing, they're already creating, and then just maybe
so
put that across on a larger marketplace?
no, no, no.
Or
So
were you
again, like
trying to
how
get certain things manufactured based on your own designs?
So, like how I said, reviving dying craft, globalizing the designs, and
Mm.
fair pricing. These were three pain points. This is the we wanted to solve at that point, and right now as well. So we look for artisans who are willing also to make new designs with us, who are willing to experiment with us also, because artisans are very used to doing their thing, right? They've been practicing certain things, and that's why they want to continue. That is why the product has been the same for the last 10 years, because that is something they know, and that is something they've been practicing. So now when someone else comes and then tells them, okay, can you make this? They'll be like,
Mm.
do I want to make this? Especially in low MOQ. I'm not giving
Mm.
the 100 quantity. I'm telling them to make 10 for me at this point.
Yeah.
So they're like, do I want to invest that much time in this? So we heard a lot of rejections. We finally found someone who's like, okay, fine, I can try it for you. We can figure it out. So we started working with him, and then COVID third wave came. Of course, our work standstill. I still had hope, And at that point, I was not even pressuring my artisan to do any work or anything. It's like, you also take care of yourself. We take care of ourselves. Like that once it's settled, we will continue our work, because nothing is more important than our health. Like if
Mm.
I'm at home secluding, I can't expect him to, okay, no, you go and work, right?
True.
So then we started working, and after a few months of working with him, after he took a lot of our money, we realized he duped us.
Whoa.
So yeah, like he took our money and never gave us the work he promised, did not do the work he promised. And like we had put in a lot of money, time, energy. And by this time, I was almost like one and a half year has happened that I had left my job. And I've told my parents that I want to be an entrepreneur. And nothing is coming out of it at this point. Okay, like I've iterated, I found artisans who were duped to take away our money, and my parents and everybody's like, I think you need to find a job now. This is a lot has happened by this time. Like
How do
because they are not.
tell me, how do you handle that phase? Because you're young, you don't have experience of anything. You try,
Yeah.
you ventured into something, so you've had the courage to try and start something, try something new, and then you're faced with such massive setback. What goes
So
on in the mind of a 20-something-year-old?
So at this point, I'm thinking, why is this happening to me? And plus, honestly, I'm not even kidding. At this point, I'm just thinking, why me? Of all the people, why me? Go. And at home also, like they are on my head. And my grandfather's like, you start giving UPSC, you become an IS. This is what you do. And I'm just like, what? What? paying. And my mom and dad are having a talk with me that, listen, you figure out, like, this is like, money has gone. Either you find a job, do something, because this is
And
not
what kind
clearly
of money was gone, you know?
quite like about like some 95,000.
Wow, so about a lakh
Yes.
is big for somebody who's not started earning even a
Yeah.
penny. Then that's a
Yeah.
big
So
thing
lakh,
to,
yeah,
yeah.
a lakh was a very big amount for us. And as I told you, like, we are not risk taker family. We are absolutely not. We are a very we know that A is gonna give us B type of family. If I like a very service mind family we are, okay? We
Mm.
are zero risk takers, basically. So when they saw that, oh, this artisan took our money and ran away also, and this girl is, I don't know, doing what with her life. And they're like, you find a job, you do something. I was like, you know what, give me the end of this year.
Mm.
It's 2022. If
And
something happens,
21 or 22? What year are we in?
22. So, sorry,
22.
oh yeah, yeah. 22 has come because we went to, because in August, I decided I want to do home decor, then research and
Mm.
everything happened. In December, we went to the cluster.
Okay.
December, we gave him the stuff. January 3rd, we've had hit.
Mm.
And by March, Jan, Feb, March, we figured out that that artisan is duping us. And now this is April when we are having all this conversation.
Mm.
That now what? What are you going to do next? So, at that point, I almost like gave in to what my parents are saying, that, maybe this is just not happening. And I was very, very that, there's such a big long gap also in my career now. And
Yeah. Yeah.
although,
And
and because,
maybe you had friends who had taken up jobs and were like at
yeah,
least 3 4 years in their
yeah,
career.
yeah, even though like I'm from NIFT, but like I have friend circle all over, like the colleges. I have friend circle from IITs, BITS, NIFT, all NIFTs,
Mm.
NITs, people who are prepping for UPSC and lawyers, everybody. So I would see them growing year after year, and my thing was just, I'm getting duped. Nothing is working out. COVID is coming. So and that point I almost gave in to what my parents were saying, but then I like talked to a few of my friends, and one of them suggested that, why don't you give this by the end of this year? If
Mm.
nothing happens, you can always do something. You have a degree, you're good at what you do. And I was a gold medalist graduate from NIFT. So they're like, you always have that to bank on.
Yeah.
Something happen, we'll figure it out. So I think, okay, let me just give this the
So,
end of 20.
also, which brings me to to an inference that it is always good to have a plan B. Of course, I'm not saying that don't give your 100% to what you want
Yeah,
to,
yeah,
but it is a sensible thing to have something to fall back
yeah,
on.
yeah.
And
Definitely.
yeah, and
So,
as much as probably your parents or your grandparents doubting you or trying to motivate you to change your career path, would have felt bad at that point, but I think ultimately parents are well-meaning people. um,
yeah, yeah,
it's just that when we are going through a tough time, we just don't understand that it's difficult
yeah,
for those around us to
exactly.
also handle that, because they want us to succeed, and when we're not
Yeah.
succeeding, they feel bad and they don't understand what else to do but just to talk us out of whatever the problem that we're in.
So
uh,
also here the thing is, like, my family is so used to see me succeed, right? Like, okay, whatever I do, like I do, like I put in so much effort that they always see, have seen me succeeding. They've never seen me fail. So
yeah.
it was such a big thing for them also. And personally, I've also never failed, right? So
Mm.
to face failure was also something new. So like I think it was more grave for my parents, because I think for them, seeing the child fail for the first time is, even though, like, what went wrong, what is going wrong, and all of that. But then I told them, let's just take and also, sorry, also, since when I decided that, okay, I'm getting to home decor and I started doing all of that, I had stopped my freelancing work also, because then I was full time doing this. So I thought, okay, nothing, I will start doing freelancing, and maybe take up a job. That will happen. We'll figure it, right? So then April was there. Then we again went on a hunt for artisans. Like, okay, let me find new artisans who will do this. Then I went to different, crafts meetings at, sorry, craft exhibitions at government halls. So I went there. I started talking to artisans, found new artisans in Saranpur who were willing to do work. Finally, gave my work. My work came in, and I was getting into shoot and all. And okay, in all of this, I just want to give a background that I was going through a lot of personal problems as well. Like my dad had undergone a surgery.
Oh,
I was almost hospitalized after a point. I've had fallen really sick. And when like this shoot and all we were about to start, my nani fell and she had like a brain clot and like a spine fracture and everything. So then like we left, like we took a pause, like no, we have to be with her. And so we went and like, we took a big pause just for her to be okay. And I will never regret that decision because she is above everything for me. So then after she got okay and everything, we resumed. I did all the photo shoot. And now at this point, I want to tell that my mom and I are like two women army at this point. We are doing all our content work ourselves, all photography, shoot, everything. I set up a small studio at my home with one light and like a table I got made. I got some plies for background. We are doing shoot, we are doing content work, we are trying to create all our accounts and everything at this point. And shoot and all is happening. And then finally by November, we started our website. We launched November 2022. And it's been 4 months that we have launched, and I'm so grateful that I kept going through. And in the middle of all of this, I Am Bangalore happened. Again, it is a serendipity journey. I did not know what I was getting into. Somehow got into incubation, and I'm really excited to look forward. I think it's going to be a good boost for us also as a small business that just started.
yeah. Awesome. If somebody were to very distantly look at your life, right kid did this, did that, did did NIFT, all of that, from one lens, it could look like a very successful story. But then you've had your downs and when maybe you were battling depression or you were going through a tough time, handling cheats, and you know just meeting with the wrong set of people early on in your business, but then getting that kind of an external validation from an institute like I Am Bangalore. So I think
Yeah.
already in these 2 years, you've had a fair share of ups and downs, which I
Oh,
think
yeah.
no startup journey that you will ever come across will always be an
Yeah.
upward hill. So I think it's just that when we are in that point, it seems difficult, but I think it just shapes you as a person and kind of makes you learn how to deal with whatever is getting thrown at you.
Yeah.
So awesome, and we wait to see what all the amazing work that you do. So is your website functional? Can people go and buy things?
Yeah, yeah. My website is functional, Instagram, everything, and we are
Also
we are
use
going to be
other
working.
we also
Sorry?
use other platforms like
Yeah,
Amazon,
yeah. So
Labs,
we are
Etsy,
on Amazon,
everything.
Etsy. We're also working with new e-commerce setups that are coming. So as a small like a new business owner, we want to support new businesses coming up as well. So we are working with new e-commerce platforms that are also coming, and we're on Amazon. We're exporting as well.
Uh,
And yeah, and we are going to be working with more and more crafts as we go ahead. This is just like like testing the waters. Is
yeah.
something that I've hypothesized? Is it actually true? Do people really want what I'm thinking? So we
Mm,
just start with like a small batch, but we're going to be working with more and more crafts as we go ahead, and create new products with them. I'm so excited for that as well.
absolutely. Can't wait to see all of that. So, Nikita, okay, let me, you've already had a great journey up to this point. Now, I want to understand what your relationship with money has been. Uh, I understand you come from a middle class background, like most of us. We come from middle class background. We've had like humble upbringings, which is why
Yeah.
we value money, but also we're not blinded by money. So
Yeah.
that sweet spot where you value the role that money plays. But specifically, if I were to ask you, how is your equation with money? Are you fearful of money? Are you just in that rat race to build and build more and more wealth? Where are you with money? Or is it something, that maybe your parents take care of at this point?
So Honestly, so when I started my first job, you know, like knowledge about investments was there, right? It was not that high, but it was there. And I was like, yeah, okay, let me enjoy my first year of salary. Second year onwards, I'll start investing. I was stupid that way. And I did not know my second year with the money will never come. So because I left my job after first year. So first year of money, so and I was in Bombay, so half of my money would go in rent. So my first year with money, I was very naive about it. I did not invest, save. I used to um spend like very nicely. I would spend my money and mostly to buy gifts for my family and my friends only. Because like, oh, I want to gift them, I want to gift them, and used to get
I think
like,
that that's a typical first year of earning
yeah,
for any person who's just starting to earn, and then you have all this money suddenly, and nobody's questioning
yeah,
what you're spending and what you're buying. You can suddenly do.
yeah,
Now, I remember a very strange thing. So, with one of my earlier salaries, so it was my mom's birthday, and I was like, oh, I'll gift her a diamond and all, I went to Tanishq, I bought like, her a diamond pendant and all. And then I spent my entire month's salary on that. And I was stupid enough to not realize that, okay, now what? So
now what?
I gifted that to her, and then my mom transferred money into my account that we need to survive. So, yeah, we have all these rosy pictures in our head.
Yeah,
Do something for the family, and
yes,
do things that are special, and and I think which is okay. I'm not saying that it's that's stupid.
yeah.
These are
So yeah. So, and after like what I thought in my second year, like, I would start investing since I had left. And I know at that time I was figuring out, and I started doing freelance branding work and logo and brand identity communication design basically. So and I was not doing it like every day religiously that I want to earn money out of it. It was something that, I could do my own expenses a bit by bit. So it was something just to like, cover up my cost. Like if I'm buying something to just to cover that up. And that was happening. And then I started a business. So basically my right now my money relationship with money has been quite of like some like a chase. Like I'm trying to like, get it, but it's like I have to work towards to get it right now,
yeah,
basically.
yeah.
We're yet to go on our first date. We're just on chase period right now. Because we are a bootstrap business, so whatever money and whatever revenue that is coming in is going back into the business. We're
Absolutely.
not taking out salaries at the moment.
Yeah.
And so basically, yeah. So we are yet to go on a first date. We are on a chase
Hmm.
period.
Hmm.
That's what it is.
Yeah, well. Okay. So, let me see. Typically I take my guests through a little rapid fire around money because, that's something that
Yeah.
intrigues me a lot. And I'm always excited to know how other people and other women in particular feel about money in their lives. So, a few of these questions might not be relevant, and I'll try and skip those for you.
Right.
Um, Okay, now tell me, with your own money, what has been your costliest purchase till now?
With my own money, costliest purchase would have been I think during Diwali time, I like all the flight tickets, and I got such expensive gifts from my family. I think not and nothing for myself. I think I've ever bought that expensive with my money. It's always been for my family and friends. And I think during Diwali, I spent like my 2 months salary, which I was saving, and just splurged it all out. And it was quite a shocker for me, like how you said. And I was like, now what? I was coming back home,
Yeah.
so I was okay. But yeah, that had been the biggest one.
Okay. So, all right. So I would have typically asked you what is a good money habit that you have, but I'm skipping that for now. What's a money habit that you want to get rid of?
Money habit I want to get rid of is um sometimes I get into retail therapy, like not in terms of like not clothes and all, like with clothes and everything, I am very prudent. Like I am very much into upcycling, recycling. I don't throw away until unless I know that I can't do anything further with this fabric, and that also I do need. I am very, very prudent with my clothes. But sometimes, when
So
I'm feeling down,
a t-shirt 1 year will become a duster next year, and a pochada the
no, but I
following.
take very good take care of my clothes. Like 1 year, and my t-shirt at least goes for like 3, 4 years. Before that, nothing happens to it.
You
So
know,
I,
the thing with all of these shopping apps is that they make clothes so cheap for you that sometimes you just,
yeah,
you know, you will find something for 500, 400, and you're like, this is good, even if it'll, last me one season,
yeah,
it's good. But then you end up hoarding so much, you end up buying so much, and then your closet is overflowing.
yeah, yeah.
I,
For so
I'm guilty of that. But
No, with clothes, I am very, very prudent. I don't, like I said, shop that much. But what I do in retail therapy, I buy skincare. So what I do is not
hmm,
expensive or anything. If I'm feeling very low, I'll just buy this one serum, thinking that it'll fix all my problems or everything I'm going through. It's gonna be that one thing that saves me. It comes, I look at it, nothing happens, and it's just lying. So I think that is one thing I need to stop. When I'm feeling glow, buying something like I said, some skincare product, thinking that will not just heal my skin, but everything that I'm going through. And then you realize that's not how it works. It won't even scale, it will not even take care of your skin. It'll do nothing. It will just lie on your shelf.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so considering you're somebody who is, at that phase in life where you are about to start, earning and building your relationship with money, uh, at this point, I'm assuming, so, stop me if I'm wrong, but I would assume that because you've not independently managed money, you would probably not know so much about making the right investment, or, what are those things? Or have you been a child who's been very involved in the family's way of handling money or budgeting? Have you been ever that child who was made to be included in these discussions around money? Because, and the reason I ask you this question is because I don't see too many families where that is done. I definitely did not grow up in a family where money was talked about. I don't remember ever having any discussion around money with my parents. It was something children were shielded from. So,
Yeah.
were you a similar kid, or were you any different?
Just to cut, do you want to like start another meeting because only 10 minutes are left? So I'll just start with this question. So it'll be easier
Okay,
for you to,
ciao. Take
yeah. We'll remember where we left also.
care. नहीं we can go on यहाँ पे.
No, it's showing 9 minutes left.
हाँ हाँ तो हो जाएगा. We almost at the end.
Okay, okay.
हाँ,
So,
another 5 minutes.
um, like you said, money was something that was not discussed in my family. They were like, as like, because we like growing up, like now we are comfortable, but like growing up, when my dad has also just joined a PSU, so we were figuring out money and everything, and they sent me to a very good school. Like that school was not cheap at all. So I knew that there was something like they were budgeting, and I knew that I had to be very prudent about my expenditures and where I'm spending and how I'm spending. That was something that I knew, but where exactly how they were budgeting that money is something that I was not made aware of.
Hmm.
They were just like, okay, you know what to do, you do your thing, you do not worry about all of this. And they think, parents think that you're telling your child, okay, don't worry, we are taking care of everything. But kids see you, right? What is
Yeah,
happening around? We are not blind to what is happening around. I can see, okay, there are some issues, there's not some issues now, or whatever.
yeah.
So I knew how things were playing out, but I was not really made involved in it. But as I grew up, like they started telling me about the various investments that they have made.
Hmm.
Plus, but again, it is from like, from far. Like it's not really into that they involved me.
So, what
Uh,
do you like to learn? If somebody were to, were to sit you down and say, Nikita, tell me, what is it? So now you're going to be earning your own money, and you'll have a lot of money coming your way, considering it's not just a job, but a business that you're building. So you will have insane amount of money coming your way. What do you want to learn about managing money? What do you want to learn?
short term and long term. Long-term investments, because I come from a family where people think about futures money, like, abhi to theek hai, like you will getting money, but what about a future? So although they don't tell me how they're taking care of it, but I know that I have been growing into a system where you don't have to take care, you don't, like right now money is coming, okay, you'll spend. But what about your future? You need money for the future, for, future expenses, future, your rainy days and everything. So I think my main thing it would be the future investment, like, long-term investment, something for my older days, from my rainy days, for bigger expenditure that I might make in the future. So my future money growth, like, to
Yeah.
grow your money.
Yeah, very rightly said. And, I'm glad that comes from somebody who was not even started that journey, but you're aware that that's something important to be looked at and to be, planned for. So, yeah, I mean, I think that this is the basic premise of any financial planning. You look at what your broadly your important milestones in life would be in terms of money. It could be, maybe some kind of education. It could be getting married. It could be starting a business and needing funds for that. It could be then maybe, your children's education and their weddings. So there are, you might want to buy cars and buy a house. So there are certain expenses that we can foresee. And then
Mhm.
to be able to see at what points in life you would need those, and then to plan for these big expenses in your life. I think that is how any financial planning should be done. And and the earlier you start, the longer time you have for your money to compound well, and really to create wealth. So awesome thoughts on that. uh, okay, one last question now.
Yeah.
I give you a situation, and I don't know how relevant it is because you're anyway so young. But let me go ahead with that still. Now, I give you two situations. Yeah, you have to choose one. I either double your wealth today at the age that you're at, or I make you half your age with all the intelligence and wisdom that you have today.
Oh,
Double the money today, or half the age with the intelligence of today.
I think half the age with intelligence right now, because I've made some really stupid decisions growing up. I think if I could fix them, I would like to fix a few of them at least. Or just
Okay.
more prudent in life growing up.
Well, yes. I definitely, my choice is definitely the second one, where if you make me half my age, I'm like, forget about double the wealth. I can create 10 times the wealth.
Yeah,
With
exactly.
intelligence, half a lifetime bag.
For
So
sure.
yes, I mean, for somebody at my life stage and age, I definitely value time a lot more than I
This
would
is something
value that
I think
money.
I realized in all of this, that money is something that you will get and you will earn. But the time and energy you spend on people, how you spend it, where you spend it, something will never get back.
Yeah.
If you are spending on the wrong things, wrong people, wrong situations, it's just gone.
Mm.
It never you can never earn that back. Money you can still recover, do something, do some part times, whatever, and you can get maybe earn some part of it at least. But with time and
Absolutely.
energy, when it is gone, it is gone. It's done. Like you have lost that time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Can't agree more. So, Nikita, thank you so much. That was all that I had. And it was so lovely talking to you. I didn't realize, we've been talking for so long now.
Yeah.
But you were such a delightful guest to be sharing your morning with me, and totally loved it. And of course, you would have noticed that I kept interjecting you at different points, but because the whole point was that I wanted to see what is it that I could be learning from your journey, which is very different from mine. But many things are universal, like I said earlier. So those apply to life in general. So thank you so much, and
Thank you so
all,
much for
all
having
the
me.
very best to you and to the Indian Rose. I
Thank
really hope you really grow enormously and do absolutely fantastic in your journey.
Thank you so much.
All
Wishing you the
right.
same. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.